we also provide built into GTE forms automatic transaction tracking. So if we scroll down here and go to our next page, first off you'll see we've got our comment history here, of course, and we've stored who actually entered that. If we go to our next page, we get a full transaction or form history page that shows us who started the form and when they did it, and it gives us a visual view of the transaction. You'll see here that this transaction was started by Todd Pronoun, and now it's been sent to the integration broker. The integration broker is actually what's responsible to get the transaction into the system. So at the point that we loaded this page, the integration broker was still working on that. So if we come back out here now and refresh, you'll see that now it's actually done the work. The integration broker has gotten the transaction into the system, and now we've added to the log to show that it's not only authorized, the system has now executed this transaction. That means that it's now into the system. So if we select this Simple ID, we should be able to go to job data and find this transaction. Before we go there, let me mention two other pieces of GTE forms functionality that we just leveraged. One is that integration broker handler that is a piece that lives in the integration broker, makes it easier to actually create the transactions that do this entry into the system. So when we built this quick entry page, we used Gideon Taylor's IB handler to make it easier to add this step, so the integration broker can be working on our transactions in the background. That means we don't have to wait for the transaction to actually execute into job data. That not only gives us a quick entry page, but it saves us time because we don't even have to wait for the system to get the entry into job data done. That happens on the system's time, not on our time. That's because of the IB handler, part of GTE forms. We also just used behind the scenes a CI wrapper. That makes it easier to enter information into a script, how that information is going to go through a component interface and into the target component like job data. Using that CI wrapper, we were able to get that done very quickly, very easily. So now we'll go ahead and go to job data. We'll sign out first as the user that we currently have because that user doesn't even have access to job data. We'll go ahead and sign in as a core office user. Follow the traditional navigation. Through workforce administration. How long this takes is a good indication of why it sometimes is nice to have a quick entry solution. Make it easier to get to the information that you need to enter. So here we'll go ahead and bring up the Simple ID, and we'll see when it finishes loading that the information that we entered into the quick entry page has now been executed into the target component. One of the other advantages of taking our approach is that all of the delivered business logic that PeopleSoft has underneath this component gets triggered while we enter it through that component interface. So you'll see we have the action and action reason that we entered is in here, our effective date. You'll see the position number that we entered has now been entered here. And over on the job information page, we can see the job code that came in from the position, and we can see the compensation that got entered. And then coming down to earnings distribution, we can see the 2 rows of information that came in from our grid, from our earnings distribution grid. And even just to look at what we entered, you'll notice that we had to flip through 4 different pages here in job data again, another benefit of the quick entry form is that all of those fields could be on one simple page. There are also many fields on these pages that we don't need. So rather than have them clutter up the entry form for the end user, we can actually just show the fields that are needed for the transaction and by the user that's doing that transaction, making it much easier to train and much harder to make mistakes. So we've been talking about the benefits of making a quick entry solution using GTE forms. And one of those advantages is how easy it is to actually grow that quick entry solution and make it more powerful and effective. So we're going to demonstrate that by adding some features right now in real time to this job data quick entry solution. We're going to use GTE Forms features to add homepage navigation, pre-population of the quick entry page, and support for attachments and custom form checklists. So first we'll start with the homepage. So far we navigated directly to the quick entry page just from the menu folder. And if you're going to build a lot of quick entry pages, though, you probably want to give your users a more organized, intuitive, and attractive navigation path. GTE Forms offers setup table-based homepage management. So using setup table data only, we can actually create and populate a quick entry page. So we're going to enable that and turn it on for our existing quick entry page. So we're already signed on as Gideon Taylor. First we're going to navigate to a quick entry home page that we've built here and just show you that currently it's blank. All that we did so far was make a copy of a Gideon Taylor delivered page and component, and we just saved it, named it a quick entry, the quick entry home page, and we registered the component to put it on the menu. So far we haven't done any coding, we haven't built any new objects, we just made a copy of an existing page and component. So starting from there, we'll come back to this page after we've done the setup table entry. So first we're going to go to Manage GTE Forms. That's the online application for managing GTE Forms based solutions, and we're going to add a new home page. We'll call it a quick entry home page, and then we're going to look up the component that we did the save as for here, and the page, and we'll go ahead and give it a title. Then we can make a list of actions here that we want to trigger from that home page. What we want to do is be able to add a job quick entry action. Going to add a little decoration here. We'll go ahead and pick an icon to show on that page. Looks kind of job related. And we'll enter the text that's going to actually be appearing on our home page. Okay, that's all we need there. Now we're going to tell it the form type to use. Again, this is off of our form type table where we defined how this transaction is going to be working. So we use our quick entry job from the form type. We're going to use the default condition and the add task and path A. We save that. We can also link to other home pages from here so you can create a whole hierarchical navigation scheme. So now when we navigate back to the quick entry page, you'll see that we've got an entry.